When I tell you this was the best episode of the season right here, Gary, you are nothing but the devil. Again, family, thank you for joining my channel. Peace, queens and kings. If you stopping by, let's get into it. Now here we have Jordan introducing Andy to Gary. And he got the nerve to ask her, do we know each other? Have we met? She was like, yeah, we know each other. He looking like, I don't know, all crazy. I'm like, yo, Andy, this is when she needed to blast his behind. What do you mean you don't know me? When we dated such and such years. But no, Andy gonna sit up there and play dumbfounded. And I'm like, oh no. So she looks over to her girls and she see, oh God, do they see this? Do they see what I see? Then after a few minutes, a couple seconds rather, Sabrina bends over to our girl Danny, and she was like, "Is that Gary?" And she looked like, "Oh, what do we have here?" When I tell you, I'm so glad that they saw them all together instead of Andy by herself. You don't know how happy I am that they was all there. Especially Danny. So he's like, y'all know Gary? She was like, yeah, Atlanta got a lot of, assholes running around or something like that. She said, because that is my girl. So Sabrina, sweet Sabrina, she looking like, don't stir up nothing. Like, don't go over there. Then they're like, oh, hell to the no. Oh, no, I'm about to put this MF on blast. Are you serious? She was like, I am ready. So they going over there talking like, hey, Gary. Gary sees Danny. He's like, oh, shit. He already know that it is over for him with Danny there. So he looking like, our boy got to get out there quick. He like, I got to leave. And so Jordan like, what you talking about? My sister on her way. Like, why you leaving? And he's like, work or whatever. She like, yeah, Danny, like, why you going? And so Jordan is like dumbfounded, playing confused. I don't know how confused they really are. I guess Gary's been pulling the wool over all their eyes all this time. But yeah, what a coincidence, right? So they girls go inside. They like, what is going on, Sabrina? Andy like, I have no idea. Danny like, this is some crazy BS. Let me get a drink on this. So they like, this is crazy. Like, who would have ever thought that these guys that we met, a guy I met on my dating app happens to know, I said, this is God, happens to know that this, the man that I've been dating, the man that has screwed me over. Danny like, yo, where Gary at? Come on, Gary, come inside. He like, okay, I'll be in there. She like, oh boy, you ain't running. You are not running and hiding. You gonna face the fire. You hear me? You are going to face this one. So he's like, okay. He's trying to make every excuse to get out of there, because when I tell you this man was in pure hell, he was in pure torment. So they come back inside and, gullible Jordan, he like, do, coming out with his little grill food. And they up there talking like, what's the deal? Gary trying to make an excuse. They like, bro, like, why you leaving? Like, you just got here. And he's like, it's all about the work. Jordan already, about done with him, because he's always evidently using travel and work as an excuse to MIA when he gas lighting and dealing with other women. You know what I'm saying? And doing his dirt. So he's like, okay, let me make a phone call to try to make an excuse, I guess. But this is probably who he was calling to try to get her not to come. But old girl was in the place to be. And oh my God. So she up there with her stomach and talking about, oh, hi, we so excited. They like, congratulations. She was like, this is our, be our first. And she was like, well, who's our? And Andy like, oh, me and Gary. And Lord have mercy, look on their face. So, bruh is all excited to see sis. I'm excited to see sis. I want all of the mask to come off. I want the top to come off the pot. It's time. She's like, Andy like, oh. So girl is so, oh my gosh, she has no idea. And Danny looking at her like, girl, you are about to get the news of a lifetime today. Andy like, oh God, he did it to me again. He did it to me again. But when I tell you all the sisters being there minus Karen, well, she don't need this kind of stress, but we didn't need Karen there. But to have Sabrina, especially Danny, I was so happy. So our girl is so happy. She's like, Gary, oh my Gary, kissing him, talking about, oh, what's wrong? He's like trying to get out of there. She's like, no, we're not leaving. We're not leaving. We're going to stay here. Like, this is always his MO. He got to go. She was like, no, this is what you need. And she nudging noses like a little Eskimo. And I'm like about to throw up. I am dying. I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is so good. And they just looking at him like, yo, you mother scoocher. I'm like, you are the lowest of the low. Complete scum, Gary. You got another one? A baby? Pregnant? Sabrina asked how long they've been together. She was like 3 years. I'm like, yo, the entire time he was dealing with Andy, and probably the wife too. So they over there laughing, thinking it's so cute, laughing at their boy. Danny is like oozing on the inside. This woman is so in love. Gary got to play it off. He got to say, I love you too. He got to sit up there and make like he's so happy with her. He can't play it off, give her not a clue in the world. Sabrina is looking at Andy like, I know you are crumbling inside. I know, sis, you want to dig a hole and bury yourself. So, of course, they at the point now where, they're going to have girl time. Because old girl like, we going to chit chat. You guys go ahead. We going to talk. Gary like, no, 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 no. Gary do not want them to be alone. She was like, yeah, we going to sit over here and chat. You go ahead. Gary's like, why is this happening to me? They looking like, yeah, bro, the jig is up. Oh, yeah. It's not just Andy. You can sit up there and play and, give her a little excuse and play with her head like you've been doing all this time. You're not going to play that in front of her girls because now they all see it. So he's all nervous, like leave them alone. And when he walks past, Sabrina gives him a good old whack. Look at his face. He looking like, oh, God, please help me to escape. Poof me. Let the floor drop. Let me die already. Oh, my God. Put in the comments, what did y'all think when this all came to a head? So, of course, Danny want to leave. Andy wants to leave. And Danny's like, no. Oh, no, no, no. Give me my wine. Give me my snacks. We are going to go over here and have a nice little chit chat with the fiancé. They looking at her like, are you serious, Danny? We're not going to do this. Look at this woman. She's pregnant. She rolling her belly. She was like, Danny really don't care. Because before this MF's baby comes into this world, this poor girl needs to know the truth. Oh, no. We're going to have a chat. I am not going nowhere. Let's get on over here to this couch. Oh, I love it. Now, in the meantime, Karen, the contractor, the brother who checked out the place, our man Jason Weaver, comes over with an estimate. And Karen's like, damn. But then later on, she tells Pam, oh, it wasn't so bad. So I'm like, girl, why you damning then if the estimate wasn't too bad? But I guess she did the research like he said. He was on and said, go check out other places because this estimate is really probably the best. But he was, fair enough and decent to tell her to go out and check others. So, he really told her, what you want to do. She told him she trusts him. I guess how he presents himself. He didn't hide the fact that he has a lot of children and a wife. And he said, if you ever need any assistance or whatever, as a single mom, I'm trying to look out. I told my boy I'm going to look out. And, if you need any help with the children, because I'm a pro. Like, I got all the sizes, like from infants to 9-year-old. I got a lot of stuff. I will help you. I will give you advice, give you stuff. And that was really nice. Cool brother. And I'm like, darn, I wish bruh man wasn't married with children because this might be a good one for Karen. Really, really nice guy. So she calls up Pam and let her know what's going on. Told her about the estimate, but it'll take 5 months to get fixed. And old girl's like, damn, like I need my job. So she was like, well, we're going to have to, figure something out. So, she's telling her about some things that she wanted her to pick up. So now in the meantime, we got our boy ready to go and party. The girls didn't invite Maurice out, right? So Maurice said he going to go and have his fun himself and party. And Calvin said, I'm going to go with you. Calvin, the good friend that he is. He said, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to help you go out there and find a good man. But before he said that, he was like, Maurice going to go find somebody to bring home. He was like, don't you bring nobody here. Don't you bring nobody here. And I'm like, Maurice, why do people not learn their lesson? Like Danny finding people in the with this guy at the airport. Like they don't learn a lesson once they go through all this trauma. So now we have oh God, I'm drawing a blank. Fatima and Zach trying to, figure out the situation with the baby. So they go over, and the neighbor, nosy neighbor, she was like, y'all think I'm nosy? Yes, I am nosy. I cracked up. But, she said, look out for us. You got my number. She said, yeah. Now, they found out that she was not home. Heather wasn't home with the baby. And so they was like, where she at? She was like, I don't know, but the baby was out, limping and stuff. So they hope they took her to the hospital. So they was really nervous on that. So, Zach tried to offer some money. And she was like, who you think I am? I'm for this money. You gonna buy me off? I care about these children. You can take your fancy ass car and you can get the hell up out of here. And he was like, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean nothing disrespectful. I really didn't. It was a peace offering. Like, thank you. We appreciate, the information that they give. And then Fatima trying to say, no, he really didn't mean anything by it. So she was like, okay, well, she said you sorry and I'm sorry. Give me some of that. I could use a piece of cash. I was like, you sure could. You wanted that money, sis. So, in the meantime, Karen lets Pam know that she wants to work out of her home. And she was like, what? Like, Pam think it's like totally ghetto. But she said, we got to do something. You can come in part-time. We got to get people, get some people from the shop, come in and help us. And she was like, you get Aaron to help you. She was like, no, because I don't want him to misinterpret that. We can make this happen. Go like back in the day. Do what you got to do. If your clientels love your work, they will come to your house, Karen. So she was like, okay. She got the stuff that she wanted. And they going to make her do what it do. Because at the end of the day, Karen has to keep her business going. She has to pay these bills. And even though her place is small, this has happened with many businesses. They have started out of the house. And even though she has evolved into, an actual salon, she got to do what she got to do. She can make it happen. So Zach and Fatima are, at the hospital. They checking around. They don't find the baby anywhere. And so they're really nervous at this point. Zach is like, I can't believe this. I'm out here looking for my son. Sometimes when you're out here in these streets, doing your thing, just wilding. You don't understand the situation and the circumstances that happens later on. And it's true. But she was like, it was only one time, Fatima. And she said, you know what? It only takes one time, babe. It just takes one time. And that's true. It only takes one time. So she went to tell him, she's not perfect either. Because I guess he feels like I'm just a F up. I just fuck up all the time. And how are you with me? How do you love me? But she said, I was in a situation once. When I was young, it was a guy in the neighborhood. My parents didn't want me to be around. I guess he was bad news. Some of us girls, we love the thugs. We love the ones out here in these streets. I guess it's strength in these brothers. It's just something that we just like. And she told him that she was pregnant. And then, but she lost the baby. And so that was something that, he said, I'm here for you now. And, everybody has a story, right? So now the girls are out here with, talking to the fiance, and they find out that he got her a house and a car too. And she said, so Danny like, oh, you got a Rolls Royce? She's like, no, I think those are for women. How can you ride around in cars like that when people out here, I guess are hungry, could barely pay their bills, that type of thing. And so she thinks it's just for attention. Women that want cars like that are just for attention. So she's like, oh, so Auntie's like shoving that food in her mouth like, yo, this man is doing me just like he did her. I can't believe it. So Danny's messing with Andy like, oh, Andy, you heard that? Do you think women want attention? So she let her know, I'm just messing with her because she has a Rolls Royce. She said, oh, you have a Rolls Royce too? You have a Gary? She was like, Danny was like, oh, you never know. Like, there's men out here that, they are maybe full-blown polygamists out here living other lives, So she goes on to tell her that, you may, it's like you dealing with the same person, like literally the same person. She said, well, I could never be with a man, who would cheat on me. And that's when Danny went to explain to her, you never know the life that people are living. Little do you know, yes, your man is a cheat. He is living a whole life. I don't even know if this woman knew about that Gary was married once, and she surely don't know about Andy. So Danny was like, had me dying. So poor old girl was like, wow. Oh man, you if you got like a Gary too, you are so lucky. This is what she thinking. No, you're not. You are not. So she was like, I hope you're not offended by the comment that she made. And Andy was telling her, no, I'm not offended at all. And Danny's like, this girl, this girl, they are messing with the same guy. Your man, the love of your life, is my girl over here wants love of her life. But this is just confirmation, Andy, really, because a man that would do what he did to his wife, will certainly do the same thing to you, and again to this woman. He gave you a ring to propose, and now he gave this woman a ring to propose. So now Gary is like looking like, okay, enough is enough. Let me go and bust this up. And the look that Andy gave him, like, you mother, you know what? And so Gary is like, yeah, because you can't lie. It's all in your face, Gary. You can't lie. Everything, the cards are all out. I see it for myself. There's no way you could deny this mess. Nothing he could possibly say to her. So now the guys coming and they all tugging. Like, did y'all think that was kind of weird? Put in a comment, like they all trying to get their girls to like dance. Like they all pulling to get them away from the situation. Of course, they want their boy to have some private time with Andy. And so, they like, come on. And so they like, Gary, you go dance with your woman. Danny went with old boy and Sabrina gone off. And she said, well, my brother don't know how to dance, but Andy, you could teach him. So Andy is teaching him how to dance. Now, in the meantime, old nosy, the devil himself over there, like looking, instead of focusing on his woman, he got the nerve to still be jealous because his boy is over there dancing with his ex. So I'm like, sit down somewhere, Gary. Sit down somewhere. Oh, God, I cannot stand this man. So somebody comes by and tell him something's burning. So they pull Jordan away. So Jordan goes to see about, I guess, the food that's burning. So it breaks up their little club scene. So now Andy is talking to the girls like, this is a perfect opportunity, y'all, to get the fuck up out of here. Like, we got to get up out of here. So she's looking like, no, we can't. She was like, look at this woman. She's happy. Like, look at her. We cannot do this to her. And Sabrina's agreeing. Of course, they want to slink up out of there. But Danny's like, no, she needs to know who the hell she dealing with. And Andy's thing is, I don't want to do this to a black woman. I don't want to do this to another black woman. And she was like, oh, well, you don't need to say this to me. Because at the end of the day, this is why I want to do it. Danny was like, because he did this to 2 black women and he can't do it to another one. We can't let this go on. She needs to know who she's dealing with before this MF's baby come into this world. She needs to know the sleaze bucket that she's dealing with. Enough is enough with Gary. And I agree with her 100%. It may hurt her now, but she doesn't need to marry a lowlife like that that's never going to be faithful to her. It's not going to happen. And so Andy's basically pleading like, no, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. This is why I'm so glad that Danny was there with her, because she would have eased up out of there with Sabrina. Sabrina don't got, the gall to do something like that. But Danny do. That's why you need that balance in your whole circle of friends, because you need some to call it like it is and tell you straight up, no chaser. And old girl heard the conversation. Danny had dropped like, shit, I didn't want her to learn, like, figure this out like this. She said, what are y'all talking about? What are you talking about? What is going on here? And the pain in her eyes in this scene was like, oh my God, you was with Gary? And she was like, I'm not saying nothing. Andy said, go talk to your fiance. Go talk to your fiance. Because bottom line, they need to bring Gary in and explain to his face, in front of Jordan and everybody, all his boys, the lies he's been telling. Yes, the jig is up, Gary. You are the damn devil. I can't wait till next week when all this mess comes out in your face, because now, hey, every dog has their day. And Gary, your time has come. Enough is enough. You have tortured too many women throughout Atlanta. Family, put in the comments what you thought about this episode. It was absolutely the best. Have an amazing week. Until next time, live the life you deserve and be authentically yourself. Peace and blessings.